Hook. Imagine walking into your neighborhood pool on a hot summer day, sun blazing, kids laughing, the sound of water splashing everywhere, and then suddenly being treated like you don't belong. Imagine being yelled at in front of strangers, accused of trespassing, and even having the police called on you, a broken bar, all because someone judged you before knowing who you really are. Well, that happened to me. Karen, the self-proclaimed queen of the neighborhood, kicked me out of the pool that I not only had access to a broken bar but secretly had more control over than she could ever imagine. And when she called the cops, she had no clue that I wasn't just another neighbor, and no, I was the person who actually oversaw every HOA in the area. And that's when everything changed. It was one of those blistering afternoons when the heat practically presses against your skin. I had just wrapped up a long morning of back-to-back home meetings. Yes, I work in community management, dealing with homeowner associations across multiple neighborhoods. To be honest, the job is exhausting. Everyone has opinions about rules, pool passes, lawn colors, and the shade of beige that's acceptable for a front door. But one thing I always looked forward to was sneaking in a quick swim to cool off before tackling another round of phone calls and complaints. That day, I walked into the community pool with my towel over my shoulder and a bottle of water in hand. The kids were splashing around, parents were lounging, and everything seemed peaceful, a broken bar, until I heard a voice cut through the air like a knife. Excuse me, who do you think you are?" I turned around, and there she was, Karen, sunglasses perched on her head, visor strapped tight, and arms crossed like a security guard about to write me a ticket. Her glare could have burned a hole through concrete. "I'm just here for a swim," I replied calmly, already feeling the tension rise. Karen stormed closer. "No, you're not. I don't recognize you, and this pool is for residents only. You need to leave right now before I call security or the police." The sting wasn't in her words alone. It was the way she looked me up and down, like I didn't belong, like I was some outsider trespassing in her perfect world. People around us started watching, whispers circling like a breeze through the crowd. My chest tightened. I hated public confrontation. I tried to explain. "Actually, yeah," but she cut me off. "No excuses. Out now, or I'll make a call you won't like." The humiliation was unbearable. Strangers stared at me, judging, assuming. My heart raced. I wasn't some rule breaker sneaking into a pool. I lived for fairness. My entire career was about enforcing community guidelines. But in that moment, Karen had stripped me of dignity and made me feel like a criminal. And then, just like she promised, she pulled out her phone and dialed the cops. Right there, in front of everyone. My stomach dropped. When the police arrived, the atmosphere at the pool shifted. Parents hushed their kids. Teens climbed out of the water to watch, and Karen stood tall like she had just won some invisible battle. She pointed at me as though I were a suspect on trial. "This person is trespassing," she said confidently, her voice loud enough for everyone to hear. "They don't live here. They're breaking HOA rules." The officer approached me, calm but serious. "Sir, do you have identification proof you're allowed here?" I could have exploded. I could have yelled, argued, or stormed out in shame. But instead, I took a deep breath, reached into my bag, and handed over not just my ID but also my work badge. The one with my name, photo, and title clearly printed, Regional HOA Director. The officer blinked, then glanced at Karen. "Ma'am, a broken bar. This person oversees this property." Karen's smug smile melted faster than ice in the sun. Her face drained of color as whispers rippled through the crowd. People who had been watching quietly now chuckled, shaking their heads at her. I looked at Karina, not with anger, but with something heavier. You didn't even give me a chance. You judged me, humiliated me, and treated me like I was beneath you. But here's the truth. I run every HOA around here. That means every pool, every clubhouse, every neighborhood event, a broken bar. They all cross my desk. And instead of asking politely or treating me like a neighbor, you tried to ruin me." Her jaw hung open. She stuttered. "Yeah, a broken bar. I didn't know a broken bar." "No, you didn't," I replied. "Because you didn't want to know. You wanted control." The officer gave me a small nod, almost as if to apologize on behalf of the whole mess, and then turned to Karen. "Ma'am, in the future, maybe verify facts before calling us. You've wasted police resources today." Karen shrank back, her pride shattered. People no longer saw her as the neighborhood watchdog. They saw her for what she was, a bully who had gone too far. As I left the pool that day, towel still over my shoulder, I felt a strange sense of power. Not because I had won against Karen, but because I had stood my ground without losing my cool. I had been embarrassed, yes, but I walked away stronger. And here's the message I want you to take from this story. People will misjudge you. They'll assume, they'll criticize, and sometimes they'll try to strip away your dignity. But your worth isn't defined by their ignorance. Stay calm, stay grounded, and let your truth speak louder than their noise. Because sometimes, the very thing they try to use against you, a broken bar, is the very thing that proves your strength.